Have you ever wondered who was the first Gentile convert to Christianity? Let's take a moment to appreciate Cornelius, a Roman military officer who etched his name in the annals of Christian history. His conversion was no ordinary event. It marked an epochal shift in the early church. For the first time, Gentiles were embraced into the family of God, breaking centuries-old barriers. This extraordinary episode did not just happen. It was orchestrated by divine intervention, visions, and supernatural manifestations. Let's dive into the fascinating story of Cornelius, a man whose conversion changed the course of Christian history. Our story begins in Caesarea, with Cornelius, a devout and God-fearing Roman centurion. Cornelius was a man of high rank, yet he held a profound respect and reverence for God. He was not a Jew, he was a Gentile, which makes his story even more intriguing. In the book of Acts, Chapter 10, we find Cornelius at his home praying in the afternoon. Suddenly he experiences a divine vision. An angel of God appears before him, calling him by name. The angel tells Cornelius that his prayers and acts of charity have been acknowledged by God. He is then instructed to send for a man named Peter, who was staying in Joppa. Meanwhile, Peter himself experiences a vision. He sees a large sheet descending from heaven, filled with all kinds of animals. A voice tells him to kill and eat, but Peter, being a devout Jew, objects, stating that he has never eaten anything impure or unclean. The voice responds, "What God has made clean, do not call impure." This happens 3 times before the sheet is taken back to heaven. At that very moment, the men sent by Cornelius arrive at Peter's doorstep. Guided by the Spirit, Peter welcomes them and agrees to accompany them to Cornelius. Upon meeting, Cornelius bows down to Peter, but is quickly corrected and told to stand, for Peter is just a man like him. Peter then begins to understand the meaning of his vision. He realizes that God does not show favoritism, but accepts every man who fears him and does what is right. This was a major shift in perspective for the early church, which was primarily Jewish. The acceptance of Gentiles into the fold was met with resistance, but Peter's revelation broke down those barriers. Following this revelation, the Holy Spirit descends upon Cornelius and his household, just as it had on the day of Pentecost. They all begin to speak in tongues, demonstrating the same spiritual gifts bestowed upon the Jewish believers. This led Peter to baptize Cornelius and his entire household, marking a significant event in Christian history, and thus Cornelius, a Roman centurion, became the first Gentile convert to Christianity. The conversion of Cornelius was not just about one man's faith, it was about the expansion of the Christian faith. This event had profound implications for the early church. Cornelius, a Roman military officer, was the first recorded Gentile to become a follower of Christ. His conversion was a divine signal, a beacon, that the doors of the church were now open to all, regardless of ethnic or cultural background. This marked a seismic shift in the Christian landscape, breaking down the former barriers between Jews and Gentiles. The acceptance of Gentiles into the church was initially met with resistance from Jewish Christians. However, the miraculous circumstances surrounding Cornelius's conversion, marked by visions and supernatural manifestations, were undeniable evidence of God's hand at work. This divine intervention served as a catalyst, nudging the early church to navigate through the thorny maze of cultural and religious differences. More than just a historical event, Cornelius's conversion also fulfilled Old Testament prophecies. It echoed the words of Isaiah, who foresaw that the nations of the world would come to the light of God's people. This was a clear demonstration of God's inclusive love, embracing all of humanity, Jew and Gentile alike, under the umbrella of his grace. The story of Cornelius is a testament to the transformative power of faith. It serves as a reminder of the boundless reach of God's love, extending beyond cultural and religious boundaries. It underscores the core Christian message of unity in diversity, of one body made up of many parts, all equally cherished in the eyes of God. Cornelius's conversion was a significant turning point that shaped the trajectory of the Christian church. The story of Cornelius is more than a historical account. It is a lesson in faith, acceptance, and divine intervention. From his tale, we glean valuable insights that are as relevant today as they were in the early days of Christianity. Firstly, Cornelius's story underscores the significance of faith. As a Roman officer, Cornelius was not a likely candidate for conversion, yet his faith led him towards a profound spiritual transformation. His trust in the divine, despite his cultural background, serves as a testament to the power of faith. Secondly, the narrative highlights the role of divine intervention in our lives. The visions experienced by both Cornelius and Peter were not mere coincidences. They were divinely orchestrated events that facilitated a significant shift in the early Christian community. Lastly, Cornelius's conversion emphasizes the importance of breaking down cultural and religious barriers. This event marked a turning point where Gentiles were welcomed into the family of God, breaking centuries-old barriers and prejudices. It demonstrated that the love of God transcends all human-made boundaries and divisions. The story of Cornelius serves as a reminder that God's love and acceptance extend to all, regardless of cultural or religious backgrounds.